A quote from Antigone, written by Sophocles. All men make mistakes. It is only human. One common area where people make mistakes is when using a camera and taking pictures. When they take their pictures, sometimes they'll end up blurry, out of focus, cut off in some spaces, angled wrong, and many other different things that will make it less appealing. However, that is where photo editing software comes in, which can help fix any issues on a ruined image, or it can enhance photos even further. Some might ask, don't you have to pay? There are different options. The most common one is Photoshop, which you do have to pay for. I personally use it. However, there are alternatives, such as one made from the GNU, which works with Linux, which is called GIMP. It may seem intimidating at first, believe you me. However, as time goes on and you keep using it, you will get more and more familiar with it. It is amazing to use, and will definitely enhance it, and it's more than worth it. For this video, I will be going over how to fix older images, restore them, and go over how to put some filters over it. I will now send it over to my pre-recorded introduction of it. Hello everybody. I'm going to be showing you how to use some photo editing software. Today I'm going to be doing Photoshop because that's the one that's readily available to me. However, there are other options, as I said in the introduction, such as GIMP, which is a free rasterized version, which you can go online and look up different options. There's some that you can buy. But for me, since it's widely known, widely used, and it's readily available for me, um, I'm going to show how to use Photoshop, which you can which if you use something else will definitely help. So let me go ahead and share my screen of Photoshop. So when you get to this screen here, when you first do it, you want to open up the picture you want. Mine's already, the first one I wanted to do is actually already on the screen, but if it's not, usually it won't be. You go to open and then choose which file you want. So I'm gonna go old photo. We're gonna start off with this. Try to transform an old photo to look not as damaged. So, we probably want to keep the antique look of this. It's very nice. However, as you can see in these corners, there's all these tears. There's these kind of burn marks. And of course, like I said, aging is not too bad, but we want to get rid of all that. And there is even some background. So here's a good way to fix this kind of stuff. So the first one is, as you might be able to tell, this image is a little crooked. So what we want to do is go to the crop tool. And if you go a distance away from the corner, one of the corners, there's this rounded arrow which allows you to rotate, which will rotate, it'll rotate the image for you. It'll increase it or decrease it when needed. So that looks pretty straight, maybe a little more that way. There we go. And if we do it again, here's a good way we can get rid of some of the, like this top part and some of the excess. That'll really help. Do this, put it in a little bit. Try not to put in too much. There we go. There we go, and that's already gotten a good portion while still keeping what we want in the image. So, my favorite thing to use on here is the spot healing brush, which this is one of the methods. Now for this will take other assets of the image and try to repair it based on other assets. Which there is another manual mode in this, which is just called the healing brush. However, the spot healing one, they've engineered it so well, it practically does it on its own. It's way easier. So if we go back to that, sorry, and we go to this area right here, There we go. See, it instantly takes it away. Or if we wanted to keep some of the burn marks, for example, we could just do that. There we go. However, I want to do that whole area. We don't really want that. See, and there we go. And you can even tell it took a little bit of this and copied it a couple times. Which isn't too bad though, but it still keeps its old charm. So we can do that down here. That, get rid of that. Go. There's a little bit of side bit here. Original thing. Do that one more time. There we go. There we go. There's no more line either. Maybe just a bit more right there on that. There we go. Now, another method you can use is what's called the clone stamp tool, which what you want to do is you want to go to an origin spot. This is kind of like, it's a different manual mode almost for this. So what you do is you take an origin spot, so you alt click on an area and you move to another one, and it'll copy that area for you. So as you can see, like if you see where that little plus sign is, it's copying from where you might be able to see it. See, it's copying everything from there. However, if you do let go, it will try to do it again. It will just go back to the origin spot once again. But see, this already looks pretty good. And what we can do is we can use the smudge tool if you want to blend it a little bit. However, that's probably not the most beneficial way, I'd say. It's not too bad, don't get me wrong, but another good method for that is actually just do an alt stamp and do it closer. And there we go. It blends a little bit right there. I will show you how the smudge looks though. Kind of feathered a little bit. For this, since we kind of want to keep that textured look, it's not as good here. It does have its uses, of course, but once again, for this kind of area, it's not as beneficial. If I go back just a tad there, ooh. Which you can, so you can use Control Z to go back one space, or if you have this history tab, which is one of the main things on here, you can just go back and forth between them. There we go. I want to do it one more time. Just kind of right here, Alt. Go across here. There we go. It's already looking pretty great. And we can use it over here. So if we do get kind of close to the top here, Alt, we can make it bigger and smaller as well. There we go. And if you want to get rid of some of these lines, you can blend it, or I like to just use the spot healing brush because it'll fix it for you. And there we go. There's the first image already done. Looks really nice. I like it. Now let's try something different. Now this image is already pretty good, I feel like. However, it could use some improvement. One of the things is the kind of light in the area. This image is really dark. So one good way of doing that is if we go over here to adjustments, one really good way is to use color balance and black and white. So if we use color balance right here, we can go through it. Maybe there's a couple colors that aren't going through as well. So you can use these right here. There's a cyan and red, magenta and green, yellow and blue, which will enhance, it will go one side or the other. So the thing is, one, you might not want to go too far. You can scroll it between here, but one really beneficial way if you want to just kind of check a little bit and go really small, you can type it into here. So maybe I want the reds to come up a little more. Let's do +5, for example. And you can already see maybe some of the reds came through a little bit. If you watch slowly, it's turning more kind of blue cyan. So for this, I'd say maybe the red would be a little bit better. So we'll just do a touch of red, the magenta, green. I think for this, it would definitely be better if you had a little bit more green, not too much. There we go. And then a little bit more yellow or blue. And it looks like yellow might be a little bit better just because we're going for the lighter tone. And there we go. Now another one you can do, like I said before, is black and white, um, sorry, levels. Now this is really good because if you go to this thing here, it's showing you all the different kind of darks and lights. So if I were to tone this down, it brightens it up a lot, right? And then if I go this side, it's taking away the lightness, so it's a lot more darker. A lot darker, excuse me. So for this, it's the same sort of way. You don't want to do it too much, but you want to do it just enough. So this is one method of brightening an image. So we could do this, kind of move the slider this way. You know, we want a little lighter. And if we want the lightest lights to go through really light, we can take this scroller. And you can see some of them going through pretty well. This makes a lot pop a lot more. Now maybe we want a little bit darker darks, right? So we can just touch that down just a little. Of course, you can keep going back and forth, see what you like. I think that looks a lot better. So that's one method for making it go. And now here's another method. We could go in and decide exactly where. So what we would do is we would put on a layer mask. And we put on the layer mask. Or excuse me. Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. If you want to do this, but if you want to do it in specific areas, let's put another one, for example. We can put it on a layer mask. And then maybe we put it up, where is it? Sorry about that. Delete that layer. Maybe you just want it specific areas. So let's say I wanted it just on the iguana. So let's go back just a little bit. So we do the same adjustments. Once again, let me get rid of this so I can retry it. There we go. Let's say it's like really, let's have it just really light like that. So now what we do is we do Control I, we invert it, and now what we do is we use this brush, and you can change the opacity at the top here to where it's just going a little bit at a time. And this works across all of them. There is a specific tool on here, but this is better for showing off what you can do for any of them because a lot of them have layer masks. They'll have brushes where you can lower the opacity and such. So if we were wanting to lighten up this lizard, it was really bright as you saw. But now that we've inverted the image, it made it light, but now it's if we, excuse me, down here at the bottom, the white, because black on black won't do anything, but white on black will. And we have the opacity down. So now what we can do, we can gradually make it go lighter. I have it a little bit low. So if I were to turn it, see it, look at that. It's turned up a lot, and now it's kind of bleeding through. a lot of that really high white kind of iguana. So we could do all the way down. Now, if you do have opacity up, or like opacity down or up, to a percentage, if you stop clicking, if you let go of your hold of your mouse, it will um do it again. Once you try to go back, it will layer over any previous one. So if it was at 5% and you went over that 5%, it would go to 10% look. So we do that. But this is just an example. That's a good way, I mean, that's a little bit better. But that's an alternate way you could try to make him look a little bit better. However, I liked that original one, personally. So let's do that again. Get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. So we go to adjustments once again, levels. Kind of put it where it was a little lighter. Now, obviously, you don't want it to go too much because it'll look like this or look like this, which you don't want. However, a good method if you want specific things is you do that like this. So you can, where it's not too much, but if you go to this black slider, you'll notice you can see the darkers a lot better. That's a great way to figure out what specifically you want darker. So I want it to where it's dark enough to where it's blacker on the tail, but it's not too much. See? On the tail, it's not too much. And then we can do it the other way. So now only the whites are showing up. Maybe I want more like on the trees or in the background. I want the background a little bit lighter, so move that up a good amount more. We don't want it too much because you can see a little bit of the green is showing up, and that's going to show up really white, which we don't want. Now we move it back, or maybe like around there. There we go. Now we got a nice brightened up image. I think it looks pretty nice to show off compared to the original. So if we were to take these off, so so here's the difference. Looks a lot better. And that should do it for my presentation of PowerPoint. I hope you all can make some really good pictures out there. Only viewing this video alone, it may seem difficult to get into photo editing, and it seems a little difficult to use. However, the more you use it, the easier it will become over time. There are a multitude of ways to edit older photos and revive them. However, photo editing software is one of the most easily accessible and easy to use. Over time and with a little bit of experimentation, in the end, older images will look revived, damaged ones will look repaired, and all of them will look way more appealing than usual.